How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Liberty Bowl. As always, we come together here every Friday. It's been a long week at work, and we come down to talk about the news, talk about the latest events, talk about the fall of Western civilization as we know it. And of course, we smoke some weed while doing it. Anyway, I'm joined as always by my co-host Liberty Swine. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, like you said. Long week, man. Getting ready to enjoy the weekend, bro. Nice and sunny here, of course.
Right?
Should be a good one.
Oh yeah, shit. It's that slight in between period before it gets hellishly hot. Yeah, but yeah, quite a bit going down in the news this week. Actually, I mean, so I'm sure I'm sure there's quite a few things that I missed too. But quite still quite a bit we got going on today. We got the Biden administration, of course, it's election season, and they're going to go ahead and dangle a little bit of weed in front of your face again. All right, we're going to of course be talking about that. We got a Democrat representative, Henry Queller, indicted on federal bribery and laundering charges. Right. So that was from an arrest back in 2021. We're going to be talking about that. We got Nayib Bukele when does some Nayib Bukele type stuff and goes ahead and assembles his cabinet and basically asks his attorney general to investigate all of them right in front of their faces. Like, yep, every one of you getting fucking investigated for bribery, any of that shit. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the Arizona rancher. I forget his name, George Kelly, something like that. I think George Allen Kelly, something with those combination of names right there. But the guy that I guess basically shot allegedly, I don't know, a illegal immigrant on his property. Well, they dropped the charge. Well, they didn't drop the charges, right? They had a mistrial, and basically they said that they're not going to retry him. So, in essence, they dropped the charges. Right. So, great win for being able to defend your home, being able to defend your property. Great win for us here in the state of Arizona. And that one, we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking briefly because of the fact that we are on YouTube. AstraZeneca admits in court that vaccines may cause blood clots. Yeah, we'll be talking about that just a little bit. Anti-Semitism bill getting pushed through. It still hasn't been fully approved yet, but it's getting pushed through. We'll be talking about what that might mean. Obviously a whole bunch going on with the Jewish and the Israeli, the Jewish and the Palestinian Muslim people. We'll be talking about that. The anti-Semitism bill. It's a doozy, right? To put it lightly. We also have what's seeming to be, possibly, in the light of all of this, seemingly holy fucking wars around the world, a Christian revival going on. At least seems the way. I mean, I remember Turley, Dr. Steve Turley been talking about it for the past few years that we've been listening to him. I remember we used to freaking scoff at him. Like, he always used to talk about a post-secular world that it could possibly be looking like that, as seeming like the end of days may be upon us, and lots of people are flocking to churches and baptisms and all this and that. Right now, we also are going to be talking about the latest in World War III escalations, with the United States basically getting right up on, basically making a beachhead in Gaza. Of course, that is basically going to obviously, amount to us basically having to defend ourselves, and which is obviously going to lead to further escalations with conflict in the Middle East. We also got some Russian troops going into a consulate in Nigeria, and it's not really super big news. They did try to make it like front page for a good little bit, but really it wasn't anything. It wasn't like any sort of conflict, anything like that. But it was very symbolic. All right, we'll be talking about that as well. Oh, we also are going to be talking about the pro-Palestine riots, right? Everyone's saying these college kids all over the country and stuff like that. Oh, they're just whatever, this and that. We'll be talking about that. We'll be looking into a little bit of videos from that too, and we also got a some Trump Mar-a-Lago. Some documents have been released that is basically proving that Trump's the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago home was essentially a setup. right? With the classified documents that happen to be there, it may have been set there on purpose. All right. Yeah, but a whole bunch to unpack there, man. We'll go ahead and start with the Biden, what's basically the Biden DEA at the behest of Merrick Garland, basically going ahead and saying that that was a total fuck up, but going ahead and saying that they're going to reclassify marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. What's your thoughts on that one, man?
I mean, you know what time it is, and you want to celebrate it, right? Someone that supports cannabis, but you know, it's not like it's decriminalizing it or anything like that. You know, I mean, if they really wanted to do something, they just say it's like, you know, at minimum alcohol. There you go. You know what I mean? It's taxed, it's regulated, but you can go to the fucking store and get it. You know, and well, there's dispensaries, yeah, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like free market for real, not controlled. Three companies get to have it in your state, yada yada.
Right.
And of course, it's pandering, and especially with old camel toes, you know, keeping people in prison in California for weed charges, and then bragging that she smoked weed while listening to rap music that wasn't released till years later, and you know, yada yada.
Right.
It's all political theater. And again, if they wanted to do something, it would just be let's decriminalize. There you go.
Yep. Yeah. Obviously, straight political ploy, and I do want to, make pretty clear too. There's obviously, this show it has a cannabis theme, but as you can see, it's not generally or really rarely the central focal point of the show, right? And as it should be in your regular lives, right? And that's the whole moral panic, and everyone's like, oh, everyone's just going to be fucking stoners, and nobody's going to have any sort of motivation in life anymore and shit like that. Well, as we see that is the case in many cases, but there are exceptions to the rules, and it's basically people that need to learn to be responsible, learn how to do things in moderation, and learn how to basically, I don't know, be a fucking responsible adult, handle your shit, right? But anyway, as per the whole election semantics and everything like that, it's clearly a ploy, and it's something that the Biden administration uses the same way that they do with like reparations, something like that. Obviously they could get fucking bipartisan support on cannabis, fucking legalization. Right, they could get fucking bipartisan support on just about anything. We had was it Matt Gaetz? I believe it was Matt Gaetz and a fucking Democrat basically kind of teamed up to write a bill that would have declassified marijuana, but I don't think anything went with that. I don't think that ever went anywhere. I think it was just a headline, basically, much like this is. But yeah, it's obviously if they wanted to do anything about legalizing weed, anything like that, they could have done it a long time ago, especially with all of the data that they now have from the states that have legalized marijuana. Of course, the only data that they really care about is revenue. So I mean, the that data has been pretty lucrative for the state, to say the least, right? Obviously, the best thing would be full legalization. That way, somebody like me or maybe we could come out with a great fucking strain one of these days that everybody wants, and then next thing you know, we're gonna be out there selling sacks on the corner legally, obviously. And then yeah, that's basically the whole purpose of legalization is basically it would make it legal, not declassified, not regulated, slightly less, not, oh, we might allow you the privilege of being allowed to smoke marijuana with our blessing, that you have the right granted by us, the government, to smoke your marijuana. Like, that's basically all that it is. If they wanted to fucking legalize it, they could have legalized it, years ago. They could have legalized it decades ago, but obviously, it really kind of did take the first, getting over the first hump with the Colorado and Washington legalizations. Obviously, we don't like to use those people as good examples though, because those definitely are not good examples of what legalizing weed ends up being. That's what fucking trusting government ends up being. That's what basically again, not doing things in moderation, not paying attention, not thinking for yourself, basically.
Yeah, and you mentioned statistics. They're using that shit, overall crime statistics to blame it on weed, like places like Colorado, where they've had all these illegals pour in, and leftist government with their governing tendencies, and the uptick in crime follows. And they're like, see, it's because weed was legalized. And then they're talking basically like mass psychosis. You know, if you smoke weeds, you're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, they're going on some fucking laughable shit. And like I said, something that as a weed smoker you'd want to celebrate, bringing the classification down. But again, they're only using it for votes. But it's hypocritical for old camel toes, and it's strictly because the left now stands for lawlessness and abolishing morals and the fucking police, as they tell you. It's the Republicans that are trying to
Right. I I guess kind of think the whole panic with it is the whole slippery slope morality thing, which is kind of like what you're saying with the places like Colorado and Washington State and stuff like that, where basically they're like, oh, we got over the hump of legalizing weed. Let's legalize everything. Like, let's fuck it. Let's make it a fucking the donkey fucking playland from Pinocchio and shit. Like that's what we're gonna turn our entire fucking state into, right? Yeah, that's like I say, moderation, right? And it's really it's basically time tested. Obviously anybody that has smoked weed in their lifetime, which is the majority of the population of America at this point, and even before legalization was still a more than half of the country. You're gonna find out that like it's really not all the reefer madness that they made it out to be. And a lot of it was just from the propaganda era, right? The fucking the reefer madness propaganda and all that. And yeah, and now it's just become like I say, something that they use to fucking keep people wishing on a fucking prayer or something like that, hoping that one day their prayers will be answered by fucking father government, and they will allow them the privilege of fucking smoking weed.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and then they don't even want commercial hemp legalized because it would
yeah,
impact so many industries. You know what I mean? But the same people that preach the green agenda and shit could go green, a massive shift just with commercial hemp.
right. Yep. Fucking it's not about morality. Nothing with our government is ever about moral values. It's about money. Right? We live in a fucking an oligarchic plutocracy. It's a big word for you. Big words is. But
Clip, 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 clip.
right.
Biden's
Oh, anyway. Fucking vids. Let me pull up this article I got right here about this Democrat. Right, that's what they really are. Demo fucking craps. Representatives. All right, here we go. Don't worry, it's going. It's going. I believe it's going. Oh, anyway. Texas Democrat rep who blasted Biden over border crisis indicted in federal bribery, money laundering charges, and faces 204 years in prison. All right, so Democrat rep Henry Cooler and his wife Imelda Cooler on Friday were indicted on federal bribery and money laundering charges. An indictment was unsealed today in the Southern District of Texas, charging U.S. Congressman Enrique Roberto Henry Cuellar, 68, and his wife Imelda Cuellar, 67, both of Laredo, Texas, with participating in two schemes involving bribery, unlawful foreign influence, and money laundering. Congressman Cuellar and Imelda Cuellar made their initial court appearance today before a U.S. magistrate judge, Dina Palermo, in Houston, the DOJ announced on Friday. According to court documents beginning in at least December 2014, and continuing through at least November of 2021, Congressman Cuellar and Imelda Cuellar allegedly accepted approximately $600,000 in bribes from two foreign entities, an oil and gas company wholly owned and controlled by the government, Azerbaijan, and a bank headquartered in Mexico City. The bribe payments were allegedly laundered pursuant to pursuant to sham consulting contracts through a series of front companies and middlemen into shell companies owned by Imelda Queller, who performed little to no legitimate work under the contracts, the DOJ said. Right, so that's basically the fake businesses, the fake consulting firm, money laundering and shit. Didn't Joe Biden do something like that too? Like, basically went around and political consulting or some shit like that.
No, you sent Hunter, man.
Right.
Really? I mean, that's all that dude did. He'd show up at a party or get together, and you've seen it. Huh? And then, talk to a certain person, and then Hunter would swoop in behind him. Hey, buddy. Give him a card,
right.
and,
All right. Well, you'll be hearing from me.
Yeah.
All right. So Queller and his wife are facing a maximum of 240 years in prison. Per the DOJ, Congressman Queller and Imelda Queller are each charged with the following offenses and, if convicted, face maximum penalties as indicated. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit bribery of a federal official and to have a public official act as an agent of a foreign principal, 5 years in prison on each count. 2 counts of bribery of a federal official, 15 years in prison on each count. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit honest services wire fraud, 20 years in prison on each count. 2 counts of violating the ban on public officials acting as agents of a foreign principal. All right, we know about that one too. That's something that Joe Biden's is should be worried about right now. 2 years in prison on each count. 1 count of conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering, 20 years in prison, and 5 counts of money laundering, 20 years in prison on each count. So Rep. Queller, a nine-term Texas Democrat lawmaker who represented an area along the U.S.-Mexico border, previously lashed out at both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for allowing illegal aliens to pour over the border. Right, fucking 9 terms. This dude's been in there for a minute, man.
Yeah.
But he says, I've moved on from the vice president to say, okay, let's work with the ambassadors and let's work with the State Department. Let's work with Homeland Security, Queller said before the holidays in 2021. I think that's the way to address it, but I know that the media has put a lot of focus on the vice president, but with all due respect, she was given that title. I don't think she was given that title. I don't think she's, with all due respect, but put forth the effort in there. We've got to look at folks that have the experience and that have the experience on that. He added, Queller was raided by the FBI and subpoenaed in 2022, shortly after he blasted the Biden regime. Feds began issuing a flurry of subpoenas seeking records related to Democrat Representative Henry Queller and his wife Imelda and campaign staffers. More than 24 FBI agents descended on Democrat Rep. Queller's Laredo, Texas home in early 2022. On Friday, he was indicted and is facing life in the prisons. Right? So obviously, whenever you as we saw with what's his name?
Menendez.
Eric. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's that, but I was going to say Eric Adams, in terms of criticizing the Biden regime in their, policy when it comes to immigration, particularly of the illegal variety, right? Yeah, they're going to go after you. Basically, they are a authoritarian communist regime, basically. Either you get in line. That's why they don't care whether it's Joe Biden or whether it's Joe Biden's fucking dead corpse. It doesn't matter. That's why this whole court case as to whether or not presidents have immunity or whether or not it's just a symbolic position is very important right now, because basically the Democrats, they are a machine. They are not just the Democrats, it's the Democrats and it's a lot of the Republicans too. It's a good fucking majority of the Republicans. They are a unified machine, working, in the benefit of the government. And I forgot where my point was going with that, but yeah, fuck government, yo. Basically, you go after the fucking if you go after the Biden administration, or you criticize their plans, especially in such a pivotal moment as is right now, where this is basically their coup d'etat to basically seize all control over the population of the United States as part of their evil plans. If you get in the way of that right now, as we're seeing with Donald Trump, he's the one trying to stand in their way of that right now. Basically, if you get in their way, they're going to steamroll you, and that seems like what they did here, right? At least he's still alive. At least he didn't fucking commit suicide. You know, we've been seeing that has been the MO of the Biden administration and just the Democrats in general lately over the past few years.
Is he alive though, dude? I mean, facing hundreds of years, fuck, right? But
Right.
you know, pretty
But
modus
at the same
operandi,
time,
right?
that's still 100 fucking years worth of appeals processes too. I mean,
Right.
appeals processes. Hopefully, new administrations come in. You know, yeah, that's at least that's a chance. But yeah, it's still essentially killing the guy.
Yeah, it's but it's pretty typical, man. I mean, these fucking people are straight criminals. Like I mentioned, Menendez, he's still sitting on the fucking Senate. I can't remember if he got removed from committee or not, but he was on Foreign Affairs Committee. But for sure, he's still sitting in the Senate, and these people refuse to step down. And you've seen Republicans; they fold. There was just accusations against George Santos, and they fucking voted to shoot themselves in the foot.
Right.
But the Democrats won't. They won't necessarily circle the wagons as far as I don't think they're going to be publicly defending the guy, but they're not going to do anything to remove him to diminish their own fucking power. And these people are actual criminals, and they'll continue to reign over you and legislate what you can and cannot do in this motherfucker, or where your money's
Yep.
going to go.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure if I don't know if he's still in office. Actually, let me double check on that real quick. Actually, no. Yeah, I think it said that he got out in 2021 or right after 2021.
Ooh.
The U.S. representative. Let me see if I can find his term. Office representative. Okay, yep. No, he's still representative since 2005. Yep. Yeah, he's still in office. He's still making votes that affect your life, right? Yeah. Crazy shit, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's
they
that's how they work.
confiscated gold from his house. It wasn't like, there was accusations. They raided his shit and removed gold. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and this current
Good.
dude apparently, they're saying he accepted $600,000.
All right.
These cats are making stacks, dude, just straight criminal activity, and
All right.
they're voting on
Why
shit to put you away for speech.
Right. So that's why they write so many stupid fucking books that nobody ever seems to buy, but they still make millions of fucking dollars off of, you know?
You don't
And they
even see
probably
him at the fucking,
right.
secondhand book joint.
Right. Yep. And fucking motherfuckers probably didn't even actually write the shit. They probably just fucking like, oh, here's some old files. Write something about me. Yeah.
Yeah, ghostwriter for sure. Fucking, a dust sleeve with a bunch of bullshit, and
Right.
trying to buy us a fucking 2 pallets.
Yep.
What?
Yep. Yeah. And it's the hierarchy, you know? It's just fucking yeah. Yeah. He was the sacrifice, man. You fucking you speak out, you speak out of turn, you strike at the king, and you get stricken down. And that's basically what we see happening here. You know, like we said though, it's ridiculous. They will still punish their own people, but yet they'll still keep them in office. Now we'll fucking, we'll not only punish our own fucking people, we'll literally oust our own fucking people, right? And so that's another thing we could touch on real quick is the possible shooting ourselves in the foot with Marjorie Taylor Greene moving to oust uh, um, Mike Johnson, right? So I mean, we've talked about it before, but the whole thing is Mike Johnson is a piece of shit. He's basically he went and had his little talk with the establishment people, and he's basically I've changed my ways. I've seen the light now. Fucking war funding. Um, and yeah, so obviously he needs to go, but at the same time the election is in November. That's like what, like 6 months away, some shit like that, something around
Right.
there. But yeah, right. Either way, as we see, it's like in any way that we get in there, the Democrats are going to find a fucking workaround to still get their war funding passed, right? So it doesn't even really matter. Shit, he could go and fucking pass them all right now. Like at this point, it's shit. We've done absolutely fucking nothing. to stop any kind of spending. All of the same spending that would have gotten spent, all we did was we acted like we were making them sweat about it for a couple of days, and then we still passed every fucking thing they wanted and then some, right? So yeah, the Republicans really haven't done shit in terms of spending. So I mean, might as well just fucking have a speaker in there that's gonna go and continue spending for the next 6 months. But yeah, no, instead we're gonna go ahead and vote to oust him during a fucking election season. That's just more cannon fodder for the Democrats.
I think MTG found her shtick, and it's just jumping around, hooting and hollering at this point, man. I got to be real with you, and
Right.
like you said, it's a fucking straight mistake. And you seen how the last one went? They got rid of McCarthy only to get fucking little squishy. The face of Guynas. And not only did he give in, but the dude's primed for fucking more. He wants to send more war funding. And that's why it's not just the less war funding. The only people that voted against it are the usual suspects, you know, MTG, Chip Roy, Boebert, Gates. But
Yeah.
even people that like to run their mouth and are pretty good at it, like John Kennedy. I mean, he voted for it too. You know what I mean? Like that's what Republicans do. They
Yep.
fucking lose and they sell you out, man.
Yeah.
Spineless fucking jellyfish. And Trump being in the party surely hasn't changed that. Again, you got a handful of people that try to stand up for you, but ultimately they just get steamrolled because if it's something that the establishment Republicans are voting for, all the Democrats are voting for it.
Yep. Yeah. That's the two-party politics. Except there's seems to be a bit of a clash on both sides right now. Seems to be a bit of a civil war on both sides of the aisle right now.
And the only one making sense on the left is fucking John Fetterman.
Right. He's the only one speaking any sort of fucking, logic and reason on the left right now. Right. Yeah. Fucking absolute clown show, man. We're truly fucked. this country's fucked, dude. Like this shit's bad. Right. But yep, absolute fucking ridiculousness, man. Hopefully, obviously, hopefully justice will be served in this particular situation. But at the same time, it's just a clear reminder of the game, the fucking theater show that is American politics. Right. None of it's for the greater good. None of it's for the actual fucking greater good. None of it's for for truth and justice and liberty for all and shit anymore. It's all fucking just Machiavellian fucking backstabbing and fucking games and I'll scratch your back, you scratch my backs and fucking grease and palms and all this other bullshit. It's basically exactly what government was never meant to be. It's pure fucking despotism by people that like waking up and cupping their own farts and sniffing them in the fucking morning.
It's the same people that are cheering for novel charges on Trump. Trump needs to die in prisons that are fucking, your party's totally corrupted and filled with fucking criminals. And, just like the tactics of, campuses, Antifa, what have you, everything that they say they're against are what they actually fucking do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Projection.
Yeah. I still think it's fucking hilarious. All the same fucking people that were calling us fucking Nazis, just what fucking two fucking years ago, right? Are now over there fucking screaming, running down Jewish people on campus, screaming, "Kill the fucking Jews!" Absolute fucking ridiculous. That's the biggest fucking case of projection that I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Yep, fucking ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Welcome to the fucking fall of Western civilization, people.
They've tried to tell you a million times Nazism was a fucking leftist political paradigm, man.
Right. Believe us
You're
now.
seeing it unfold. Right.
Right. Yep.
As all the
Shit.
blue hair lesbians fucking scream death to America and fucking Israel.
Right. Fucking, if you believe that Israel is a real country, you need to die too.
Right.
it's I have a map right here and it says it. Like I don't know how else to believe. I mean, I've never seen the fucking place. I've never been there myself. You know, I can't tell you that I know that it's an actual fucking place, but as far as I know, my entire life, Israel's been a real place. You know?
I mean, apparently it's the same situation with, Palestine, but with these people, these people that are protesting for it here, fucking shit up that, they'd be thrown off buildings and stoned to death and shit there. So
Right, right.
there's the
I mean,
real issues.
yeah, and again, I could understand that side of the argument too, especially because I'm sure there's probably people that are still alive from before Israel was even a fucking state in that region at all. Before before the fucking shit, there's probably people still alive from before the Holocaust shit. But yeah, so I could understand the nostalgia and shit like that. Obviously, my main thing is just I understand land disputes. I understand history, all that type of stuff. My main thing is just what the fuck does that? That's not American fucking history. What the fuck does that have to do with us, dude? And obviously it's because we are the one world fucking power. We are the world boot and shit like that. And basically, when it comes to war, we fund both sides because we're disgusting fucking animals like that. All right, and basically we decide when war stops. And so again, it's really just a whole fucking mess, just a whole mess of everything. Right, you could fucking break it down to every single thing from the religious context, from the fucking historical constant fighting between them, and then from the American fucking interference aspect. Like it's a whole fucking hodgepodge of fucked up over there. So yeah, but the one thing that I know that we have control over is our interference over there. So that's why I say, we probably can't solve their problems, but we could solve that fucking section of the problem at least.
Yeah, I mean, the only fucking real thing that you can solve in that situation is to remove yourself. And
Yeah,
dude, it's been a hot mess in the Middle East for fucking centuries. You know what I mean? Millennia has nothing to do with us, and all we've done is just pour money into it and fucking help murder people, regardless of the side. Because you see, we fund both. We're
yeah,
like, we got to keep fucking protecting Israel's, but here's $1 billion to Hamas. And then you see these videos going around X where they're pulling in like the aid trucks that some of this money is supposed to be paying for, and Hamas is on the trucks blasting people, with civilians trying to grab food, shit like that. It's good times.
you're right. And that's all the aid that these people over here cheering on, right? Fucking woo, free
Yeah.
Palestine, people. All right. Well, the thing about freedom is there's when it's freedom, that's people are free to also be bad fucking people too. And as we see when it comes to the government, when it comes to the Hamas leadership, they tend to be bad people. So basically, we could free fucking Palestine, but they're still going to be under a fucking absolute authoritarian, fucking theocratic, murderous, psychotic regime. So we could send them all the fucking food that we want. We could send them all the whatever fuck we could do, cheer them on all that we want, right? That's still going to be their reality. As we should have learned this lesson from fucking Afghanistan, right? We spent how many fucking years over there? We removed the fucking Taliban. Yeah, we were over there building democracy. We were training a new government how to stand on their own. They fell in less than a fucking week. After we fucking abandoned them, they fell in under a fucking week. Right back to the Taliban. We also left our equipment behind. They fucking pretty much just got restocked on all new ammunition, all new fucking technology, equipment, and all that shit. And basically, all of that was for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. If anything, we just kind of pissed them off a little bit, right? And just the whole moral aspect too. That so many people over there that basically were pro America, pro whatever the fuck we were over there trying to sell them. That the people that worked with the Americans, the people that bought into America is gonna fucking watch us, America's gonna protect us and shit. All those people are dead. Those people are all fucking dead now. Like those people got fucking tied up, fucking drugged through the streets. Like all those people are fucking dead now. Like that's what we did over there. Yay.
Mel Gibson did more to fucking save people than Joseph R. Robinette's whatever Biddens.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so fucking free Palestine, people. I mean, see how great that fucking ends up going. But yeah, in the polar opposite of all this corruption and fucking war funding and all this and that type of shit, Nayib Bukele. Oh man, dude, that dude. Like I say, a lot of these Central and South American political leaders, at least two of them, fucking Nayib Bukele and Javier Milei, those dudes are fucking killing it, right? So as we talked about earlier, Nayib Bukele basically assembled his cabinet and basically brought his attorney general and said, investigate all of these people, investigate every last one of them for fucking corruption, for bribery, investigate all of them, right? And then you could physically see the people squirming in their seats, like, fuck, So, yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, I don't live there. I don't know anybody that fucking lives there. I don't even fucking speak the language to even be able to talk to anybody that fucking lives there. But from what I see, the dude seems like the place that the leader that place needed. Obviously, we see the night and day difference from when MS-13 was essentially running that place unofficially, and it's from this vantage point, it looks like the dude basically has found out the proper formula. Not necessarily found out the proper formula. I mean, it's something that's been written all throughout history. Like we've always had this blueprint for leaders and rulers and basically people that are a man of the people and stuff like that. That's this type of knowledge has always been a thing. It's just it's been kind of lost. It's been lost in the world for a good while. Right? We haven't had any good fucking strong leaders and shit. And now, especially in Central and South America, right? So to see the difference, basically they're making us look like, well, not making us look like we are fucking a very corrupted government, but they're putting us to shame in the ideas of liberty and basically weeding out corruption. But again, only time will tell. But so far, it's a bold move, man. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, like you said, bold move, cleaning it up, dude. One of the safer places, in South America at this point. Uh, and you see, not only those leaders going base, like you mentioned, but Mexico has the same, feel. It's just that they're getting rubbed out. You know what I mean? Like 300 politicians or some shit has been murdered in Mexico this year.
Damn.
Building up to their election, literally
Yeah.
300. That's fucking insane.
Right.
And of course, our news don't cover it. I mean, you have to actually search this information out, of course, because they try to paint a picture of fucking lollipops and palm trees, but you know it's pretty wild shit to see America getting beat at its own game. And like you said, finding the formula that's been written, like, I mean, that's what made America great, right? Was you know the same type of shit, accountability, verbally, publicly speaking out against corruption. People have power, so on and so forth. And you know, you see when it's actually put into practice, how fast it changes fucking shit around. It's like California, cleaning up for G. It
Right.
shows you. I mean, the apparatus is there. You pay for it. It's just not used properly, and it's wasted.
Right. I mean, obviously, government does has a proper function. Obviously, we didn't decide to start living this way because we were fucking tricked into it. It does have its problems too, and it's really it's demoralization, right? We are a demoralized nation, and basically, the rest of the world is following the example of this demoralized nation, right? So, obviously, Mexico and stuff like that, they've always kind of been like that. They've always really kind of been a I don't know what you'd really call it, just basically gangs fighting fucking politicians and shit like that. So I don't know, it's a weird fucking thing. Don't worry, we'll be learning about it really soon. If Donald Trump doesn't win this election, or maybe even if he fucking does, who knows? Maybe it's just written in the cards for America that we're bound to be the next fucking, I don't know, absolute fucking corrupt nation that's headed for collapse. In which case, we'll be seeing stuff like 300 fucking politicians murdered ahead of fucking election season, right? That seems like the path that we're heading down right now. right? And meanwhile, they're they are taking over as the example, right? Almost kind of makes you want to fucking yeah. Hey Mexico, you guys taking anybody right now? Actually, that is the thing, dude. Fucking articles are still popping up about it. I read about it, like a couple years back. And I actually just saw another one the other day about people down in Mexico City complaining about all of the fucking Americans moving down there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny shit. But the vast majority of the time, it's tech leftist fucking weirdos that
Right.
work remotely and shit.
Yep. Yeah, just fucking go down there to live. Fucking. Like, again, it's not somewhere that I've been, but from what I've heard and stuff like that, the central Mexico is night and day difference from the border towns and stuff like that. It's obviously I've been into the border towns because I live right next to them, but the border towns they're crazy, like they're nuts. You don't want to go there, like, ever. I don't give a fuck what time of day it is or what time of year it is. Like, no, you just don't want to fucking go there. But from what I hear, Mexico City and like this, like central Mexico, that's basically the hub of civilization in Mexico, right? That's basically where everything is. That's where all the rich people are. That's where all the $1 million fucking houses are. That's where all the actual shopping malls and all that type of shit is down there. So it would make sense that they would fucking basically pack up their laptops and their fucking Birkenstocks and head down to fucking old Mexico City. But
Yeah, it's
obviously,
insane down
yeah,
there, dude. The way the traffic rolls and shit, man. I mean, it's you're doing these weird roundabouts and with fools flowing into it from the other side, and mopeds riding between traffic. Everyone's fucking bumper to bumper. It's pretty intense driving down there.
yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen some fucking videos like of like I don't remember if it's like central Mexico or like the Cambodia or like like the that region of Asia, like Southeast Asia region, right? But it's no fucking rules. Everybody's like, oh fuck it, get in right here, you like everybody's just fucking
Right.
hauling ass through the city like that. Like no stop signs, everyone's just cutting each other off. There's no fucking like set lanes that you're supposed to drive in. You see, like, holy fuck, like you have to be a really fucking good driver to drive around like that. Like it's not trying to say that like any of those types of like, oh, they don't follow rules and shit like that. Like, those motherfuckers are some badass drivers, dude. Every last motherfucker in that place has got to be a badass driver to navigate that place. Like you got to see into the future, like to be able
Right.
to drive around there.
Yeah, they're driving inches away from each other a lot of times, man. It's insane.
Fuck that shit, man. Yep, crazy shit, man. But shit. Hats off to Nayib Bukele, man. We'll obviously we'll see how that ends up playing out. I don't know. Like maybe just liberty needs a heavy hand every now and then. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what we're seeing with these leaders and shit. Maybe that's obviously the majority of us on the right would say that that's really what needs to be done in America. A lot of us, especially on the more liberty leaning side, that we don't want measures that are basically going to stifle speech. We're going to get into stuff like that too in a minute too. We don't necessarily want measures that are going to stifle speech, basically any of the fucking of our constitutional rights, right? We don't want to give up any of those for any sort of sense of safety. But ultimately, the route that we've been going hasn't been working, right? And so basically when you get to the fucking bounds of what can be tolerated, something's got to give, right? You have to draw a line. Like a line needs to be drawn somewhere in this country, right? And yeah, hopefully, like I said, I'm glad that we get to see, at least here in America, we get to see an example of left-wing liberty and right-wing liberty, right? So we get to look up to our fucking neighbors to the north and see the results of a super fucking left swinging fucking everybody chops your dicks off and the government will pay for it. Woo, fucking leftist government.
Or kill
And
yourself.
then right. Or fucking or if you don't want to, then we'll pay for you to kill yourself too.
Right.
Yeah, we see the the results of those types of governments, and then now we're going to finally be able to see the results of a truly liberty oriented governments. All right, obviously, anybody that has any sort of common sense would know that basically a government that limits themselves and grants more freedom to the people is ultimately going to result in a better, nation, right? And at the same time, a government that doesn't implore abject freedom to the point where gangs basically form and start to take over, or start to take over any sort of leftover remnants of government that you have. You still need a form of government. So we're basically everything that a lot of the you know uh liberty, or fucking even somewhat anarchist minds have been preaching over the last century, or basically we're starting to see them come into fruition. And it's pretty awesome shit.
A lot of the shit they preach is completely asinine too, though, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, like we spoke to people like that previously, the big L's, dude, when they're fucking, police abolition and shit. They agree with the leftists on so much stuff. And,
Hmm.
the average median income in this country is like 55 racks, but they're like, you'll be able to employ your own fucking securities because you won't pay taxes. You know what I mean? Like an extra couple $100 per check's gonna all of a sudden you're gonna be able to afford to employ someone for 35, 40,000 a year, right? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, delusional shit. And
Yeah.
with the Bill Weld ticket and whatnot, they attracted a lot of disenfranchised leftists. And they preach a lot of open border fucking, Riri shit. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. At one point, you do have them saying, well, if you did away with the social safety net, it would only attract, wouldn't attract so many lower income or lower skilled, fucking workers or what have you. But that's not going to happen, dude.
Oh, we don't worry. We have public school for that. Yeah.
Right,
We have public school for fucking low skilled workers.
right.
The only thing is they're fucking entitled. That's the problem. That's why got to fucking reel it back in a little bit, right? Or just privatize all of it. Fuck it. Get rid of fucking public school. Privatize all of it. Keep your fucking money. Use that money to send your fucking kids to school. Right? There you go. Better plan.
But like I said, though, man, even that, dude. I mean, the average person, in this country that fucking pays taxes, even if you didn't pay those taxes, you're still not going to be able to afford a lot of those programs. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And at the same time, our schools aren't necessarily funded from like taxes, from like local state taxes or anything like that. They're funded from property taxes mostly. So
Right?
basically,
And supposedly the lottery and fucking, stuff
right.
like that. So,
Yeah, supposedly figure we get a lot of our school funding from Cannabis here in Arizona, but they still fucking bitch about like they like fucking they're over here like yeah Cannabis has brought in so much fucking extra state revenue, woohoo, and then meanwhile the schools are over here bitching about like how come we ain't how come we're fucking broke as shit, or at the same time they're broke as shit because they don't do any, they fucking suck at their job, right? Basically, they suck at their job, and so they're asking for a raise, and they're basically promising that if you give them a raise, they're going to be a much better instructor, right? Uh, but yeah, it's all bullshit.
right.
But yeah, fucking with the whole like big L, libertarians and stuff like that too. Like a lot of them too, it really does. It involves the presupposition that governments are inherently bad, right? Or that government structure in general, or that basically any sort of centralization of power in any sort of aspect is a bad thing, right? And that's obviously that's not always the case, right? It does have very much potential to be a very bad thing, but that basically is a result of bad people, basically, right? The structures and stuff like that basically were designed, at least originally, the structures that the basic structures of government to protect to protect the homeland, to enforce laws, and to basically negotiate with foreign entities and stuff like that, to basically foreign policy. That's the basic design of government. Everything else is supposed to be amongst the people to solve for themselves, but obviously we see things get too far. But yeah, it takes the presupposition that governments are inherently bad. Basically, they rose up out of badness, and basically, everything was great until a great gang one day kicked in the fucking nation and took over, and basically announced to all the people that we run the world now. That's it. It really takes a lot of that kind of just, negative presuppositions about the origins of government and shit like that. And so, that's the big problem with it, is they just think, every fucking thing that the government could do is just inherently bad. Right.
Right. They say government's inherently bad, but government's ran by people, and then they discount human nature with every aspect of, if we just open the borders and fucking, free markets and, heroin's legal, everything's going to be lollipops and palm trees, which is, again, discounting human nature, which is people want more, people will steal, fucking kill. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the list
Yep.
just keeps going, but don't worry, because you'll have your one security guard that's getting 90% of your yearly gross. You know what I mean? Like, ridiculous shit.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon called relative deprivation, right? Basically, it's the idea that you may have everything you need. You may have, a house. You may have a roof over your head. You may have, a computer that you could talk to. And, you may have this, that. You may have a car outside, but maybe your neighbor has a bigger TV than you. Your neighbor who also works at the same job. You guys get the same pay. You guys are paid the same amount. Basically, everything's equal. Everybody's happy because everyone's equal, right? While relative deprivation is basically the idea that, okay, well, we're supposed to be getting the same amount. How come you have this more than me? And then it's basically it's where we get to the point where if we get everybody exactly what they need, well, people are going to find something new to bitch about, because they're going to find something else to be jealous about, right? They're basically going to find something else to be, poor me about. They're basically going to find something else to feel that they are deprived of because of the fact that their neighbor has it, right? And you may, like I say, you're not deprived of anything, but based off of your relative surrounding and basically how everyone else generally is around you, if you don't have the things that other people have, you're going to feel deprived. So basically, people are going to come to America, as we're seeing right now, and we'll set them up in a fucking hotel. We'll pay their fucking their food and room and board and all this and that fucking bullshit, and then they're still going to be sitting there bitching about, like, oh, how come you guys aren't letting us stay in the hotel for 6 months instead? It's a
Like they're
relative
currently
deprivation,
doing.
right? Yep. And it's basically just once you basically make everybody equal, then you're just constantly raising the bottom, right? If you make everybody equal, then everybody's equally poor. That's all that it means, basically.
Greedo with envy and misery.
Yup. Communism.
Bread lines are good.
All right. Yeah, these people are getting bread. What's the problem? Yeah. But in some good news, we got some good news going on today, man. So the rancher in Arizona, right? Fucking great news there, man. So obviously, he was on trial for shooting supposedly shooting, right? We don't know. We don't know what anything would happen, right? Apparently he didn't do anything. So he is allegedly on trial for shooting an illegal immigrant with an AK-47 from across his ranch, right? Which was down there off of the border of Nogales, I believe it was. But yeah, he was in court for shit. What was it, like 14 days, 14-day trial, 8-day trial, something like that. It was a pretty lengthy trial, but the case ended up coming back, or the jury ended up coming back with a mistrial. All right. I'm not sure what the mistrial was all about. Not sure what their findings were, anything like that, obviously. But it came back with a mistrial. So the prosecutor, or the district attorney, has basically said that they're not going to bring charges back up. They're not going to try and retry him, because they don't believe that they would come up with any sort of different result. So basically, they presented the case as best as they could. They don't think that they would have anything new to present another time around, right? So yeah, basically, dude wins, right? Obviously, great fucking day for the Second Amendment, the right to protect yourself, the God-given right to protect yourself here in Arizona, man. What's your thoughts on that one?
Of course, like you said, man, it's a win. It's a win for fucking freedom, self-defense, private property rights. And people think, by the news stories, oh, these are just some innocent immigrants coming for a better life. He just wanted waters. Like, no, they were running up in tactical gear, apparently, with weapons as well. And, dude's a crack shot, I guess, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he said good times, especially at the man's age. What is he, like 80 something? I mean,
Yeah.
you surely
Yeah.
don't want to see someone like that rot in prison. I mean, even Joe Biden's with the special investigator saying, we couldn't bring a case. He's an old guy with bad memory. I don't believe that. I believe you could get it guilty, but why would you want to send an old dude like that to prison for the rest of his damn life, man? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. 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 Obviously, when I was in prison, I did see some old timers in there that were getting there for like the first time and shit. Yeah, that's gotta suck, man. I don't know. Yeah.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah. I guess some people could find solace in like, fuck it, dude. I lived out here for fucking 75 fucking years. Like, I'll do my last fucking 5 in prison, sitting back on a bunk, like, and give a fuck. There are people that are like that in there, man. It's a crazy fucking place. But so one thing that I do kind of think though too is the jury in this case. Obviously Arizona being a border town, and of course Arizona or Tucson, not Tucson, Arizona, Southern Arizona, really kind of being more Democrat leaning. It does kind of just indicate that maybe the jury is basically starting to resemble a lot of the sentiment going on, especially down here in Arizona in terms of immigration, right? So a lot of these people, especially down there in Santa Cruz County where he was on trial, they live right on the same fucking border, right? And that's the best thing about jury of your peers, right? Jury of your peers. A lot of these people have the same fucking fear that they're going to have to get into the same situation that this guy just got into because of the fact of Joe Biden's open border policy and these illegal immigrants coming over all hours of the day, in the fucking middle of the night, wearing camouflage, carrying guns, carrying drugs, human trafficking. That's basically what's really on a lot of people's minds, and especially down there in somewhere like Santa Cruz County. And so I really do think that kind of helped him out a lot too, in terms of at least getting a few people, at least one fucking person on the jury to basically say that I cannot, in good conscience convict this man. All right. So like I say, it's possible, litmus test or possible barometer for what's going on with the sentiment in the country in terms of immigration right now, and basically the right to defend yourself against the millions and fucking millions of people that Joe Biden has allowed to just illegally enter this country and just go wherever the fuck they want.
Yeah, or it was a bunch of you said local people, obviously the same county, getting picked for the jury, and you know, not only this is one of our fucking our people, but like I said, look at him like this fool's going to be dead in a few years anyway. Like what the fuck? I mean, if I was on the jury just that alone, I mean, of course I would be like, fucking mistrial, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I mean, try to help the dude out or what have you to
Right.
protect like the shit we just spoke on, but at that same time, again, I just can't see myself voting to send some guy to go die in prison like that without committing some serious heinous acts. And of course, to somebody this was so I can't even imagine losing a kid or what have you. But at the same time, these fools are running up armed and shit,
Right.
tactical gear or whatnot.
Yeah. Not to mention at the same time, I also, keep in mind that after they view your YouTube channel, that I also don't really see you being selected for being on a jury anyway. Right. After they get a glimpse of my fucking YouTube and our social media and shit like that, they're like, "Yep, go ahead. You could go home. We're good."
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, man. I did the Superior
Right.
Court thing, and yeah, they were like, "Nah, we're good, Bobby."
All right. Thanks for coming, though. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yep. But
Yep.
yeah, obviously.
Snap, throw paperwork away and shit as you walk away.
Right.
Never call that guy again.
Yeah, so obviously, great day for some cases on the books down here in Arizona, basically protecting your right to defend yourself, defend your home, defend your property, and basically just a good barometer for the sentiment in terms of illegal immigration and human smuggling and fucking drug running and all this and that type of shit right now. But yeah. Freaking
That's racism.
right. Oh, we're banned. We got cut off.
Misinformation. You guys can't prove that.
All right. I don't know nothing. I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about. That is one thing that does kind of suck whenever they do strike my channel for anything. Is basically, it's like a 2 hour fucking show. Like, what part are you talking about? What part didn't you like?
Right.
Yeah. But speaking of parts that they're not going to like, AstraZeneca admits in court that their vaccines may cause blood clots. Right. So, if any of you guys have not seen the movie Died Suddenly, I highly suggest you get on over to Rumble. Go ahead and check that motherfucker out. Definitely some eye-opening stuff. Of course, when that movie first came out, everybody, it's conspiracy, yada, yada, yada. Fucking 4 out of 5 doctors agreed that it was a conspiracy, whatever. Yeah, as we're seeing now, basically the difference between a conspiracy and truth in this case is what, like fucking like 4 years now?
Man.
All right, a couple years. Yeah, crazy shit, man. What's your thoughts on that one, real quick?
I mean, this is after, of course, like you said, channels being struck, your social media is being removed,
livelihoods destroyed.
Yep, kicked out of the Twitter spheres. You're a conspiracy theorist. You should lose your job. You should be, denied medical care, so on and so forth. This shit just keeps coming out. This follows Pfizer, paperwork being leaked that they hid actual adverse effects during trials. The short trial period they had, which was obviously just a couple months, but again, they were hiding information. We see an uptick and massively in so many different diseases and whatnot. And of course, the stupid shit is being blamed still on, oh, well, it's because COVID's and people missed appointments. Shit. Like this is, again, years later. And the uptick in sudden deaths is, massive. And even if you just want to attribute that to, well, people die, but it's
Right.
specifically like a 270% increase in what they're referring to as turbo cancers. And what's the common change in all of this, right? So you're definitely going to see more come out, and you're going to see those commercials like you may be entitled to motherfucking compensations.
You
You
may
know
be
what I mean?
hush money.
Yep.
Yep. You know, fucking torts, man. But yeah, fucking definitely some crazy times, man. Some crazy fucking times we're living in. Yep. I doubt that we'll see much justice on much of any of this. Down to still China, okay, China. They're responsible for the deaths of millions and millions of people around the world with their research into this COVID virus and then their subsequent unleashing it onto the population. They have the deaths of millions and millions of people around the world on their hands, and at the same time, so does Fauci and a lot of the U.S. government for funding all of this shit. Right? We're never going to see any of
It's
that.
not the first time, right?
Right.
Yeah, definitely you're not going to see anything from that as far as the old Chinnas is concerned. But you could probably do some smacking around here if you get some consecutive years of head cracking government,
Right.
which hopefully begins here in months, right?
Right.
But
we're predicting the next 5 generations of presidents to be hardcore MAGA Republicans,
right,
God-fearing men.
Other than that, previously you've seen Pfizer had one of the largest fines ever levied on a company in the United States, right? But they're worth billions and billions, right?
Right.
The deaths of millions, they made billions.
Right. Yep. It's a business model, right?
Yep. So there's just even if they got to pay a fine, it's still going to be just a skim off the top of the profits, and everything's good. Kick out the next thing. It's going to make you fucking have anal bleeding, leakage, migraine headaches, bouts of suicide.
Yep. Shit. Welcome to the fucking plutocracy, folks.
Mm-hmm.
If you got enough money, it don't even fucking matter.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Right. Pfizer.
That got you banned.
All right. So something that's not sponsored by Pfizer. Actually, it might have been sponsored by Pfizer at one point. I don't know. It depends on who you ask. Anomaly,
The
anomaly,
Stanley Cup playoff.
right? Right. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So maybe sponsored by Pfizer. I don't fucking know. Uh, you want to talk about the Trump Mar-a-Lago documents that were released, man?
I mean, sure. I mean, apparently, fucking, a little step of the paperwork that Judge Cannon ordered to be unredacted basically lets you know that the Mar-a-Lago shit was more of a setup than you possibly could have thought. That the GSA had several pallets. Well, I think it said like 7 pallets of files, paperwork, and whatnot, and they had it for an extended period. Called the Trump team, told them to come pick up the pallets, which in turn turned out to be those same stacks that had files marked classified. So, weird coincidence there, and this was all testified again, during the court process by an unidentified, person. Of course, they're protecting identities. That was part of, the whole situation with trying to keep the censorship on as far as Jack Smith was concerned. What was, supposed to be the intent, but now we find out it was obviously just to keep this paperwork redacted and, you know, to not show the public the cooperation that went through the DOJ and the White House and, local attorneys and, so on and so forth, man. The fucking archive, division and, just good times all around, man. And everyone, it's, yeah, sure, right. All that's a conspiracy. There it is. It's
All right.
fucking conspiracies.
There it is, black and white. Right. Yep. Yeah, I think the majority of people believe that this is politically motivated, persecution of from the Biden administration. Yeah, that's why most people on both sides don't trust the Biden administration. And at the same time, it's not even just about the Biden administration. This is just about sowing distrust in our judicial system, right? You can't even trust judges. Right? You can't even trust judges anymore. Can't fucking trust attorney generals. You can't trust anybody within our government anymore. Yeah. And that's this, who knows? This could all be part of the fucking demoralization process, right? Because obviously they need to sow distrust in all of our fucking institutions. And again, like I said, I may be against the government in the majority of aspects, but really a lot of that is just what the fucking government has become, not what the government was designed to be. It's basically what it's become, right? We basically at some point in our fucking history, we went from writing laws that were going to restrict what government can do to you, and we turned to writing laws that unrestrict things that the government allows you to do, right? And then now all of a sudden we fucking cheer that on like it's some great fucking gift from father government or mother government, whatever fucking government, man. But ultimately, government was designed to have a proper function. And again, it's just when bad people get into government, which it seems like the majority of people within government are bad people, right? And that also does have to do with the
Trees of Liberty, dude. And fucking it's pretty again modus operandi, man. It's what happens, dude. It's you relinquish power, you relinquish rights, and they usurp that power and use it against you. And that's why you talk to younger cats and capitalism, like you've never even seen capitalism. You know what I mean? We haven't had capitalism in this country, real capitalism, in over 100 years. Like, oh no, shut up.
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, fucking that's shit, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, fuck the government, man. Yeah, I say just we need a revitalization of morality, in America. That's really all that we need. Which we'll be getting into that in just a minute here too. But yeah, fucking shit, Donald Trump, man. Like I say, obviously anybody with eyeballs could see that that this is a political persecution, and basically we've come to the point where it's we've pretty much found out their motives and everything too. It's it's basically Trump got in there, he broke the toys. Basically, government the idea of elections, the idea of, democracy, right? That's why they talk about our democracy all the time, because it's their fucking democracy, right? They
Right.
have
It
all the fucking
excludes you.
choices picked. They had them all lined out. They've had the next fucking several fucking years, several fucking decades of wars and invasions and fucking false flags that we've had planned and shit. They've had all this shit fucking planned for decades, right? And so basically for Trump to get in there and, basically break their toys and, put foil their plans, they hate him. They hate him. You fucking hate him. They're going to fucking crucify that guy. They are going to fucking, anything that they can, man. And
It goes right along with what you were saying about sowing distrust and discord, like in our institutions. It's also opposing political figures. That's why you see, the lunatic left still running around the inner zones, like here's voting for criminals, no matter
right.
what kind of information comes out. And that's what you were just saying, the ideological subversion. Regardless of what you show them, right? Cognitive dissonance kicks in. And that's not rails. Like I've posted actual footage of Joe Biden's, of course, a million times, but on occasion, you have the normal little fruitcake roll in, like nice AIs. Like they just can't accept that the shit is fucking real, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you were duped, dude. This dude's been a plagiarizing, lying, racist sack of shit his entire fucked up life. You know what I mean? It's they're just like can't, they're the fucking Pokemon meme.
Right. I mean, they are in full demoralization, right? They have no fucking moral center, so they have nothing to fucking gauge anything off of, right? So basically, that's why you could show them direct fucking evidence. Like, here, look, this is your fucking yogurt. This is your fucking oatmeal brain god right here. This is him, and they. No, I don't believe that, right? And that's what really kind of shows you the difference between a moral center and not, right? Basically, if you were to show me a fucking video of Donald Trump doing some fucking Epstein shit, I will fucking disavow the guy the very next day. I'll disavow him the very moment, right? Of course, you have to authenticate it to me. You can't just show me some fucking video that, oh, I found this. Of course, I'd need fucking authentic proof, which I'm sure the majority of us would, because that's the whole point of being a rational human being, right? But if I were giving concrete evidence to show that the person that I believe would be the best pick for this country was actually a horrible person, I would immediately change my fucking mind about the guy, right? And that's the good thing about having a fucking moral center is you're not bound to fucking whatever that you're not bound to the fucking crowd, right? You're not bound to the so-called wisdom of the crowd, right?
Free thought, dude. Able to change your mind with facts.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
that's what we don't see on the left. They don't have that on the left. If you're as we see, if you're given contrary evidence, like we see all the time with fucking people like Anna Kasparian, there's all kinds of people on the left basically when they finally get to the point where like, I can't keep up this fucking charade. Like, this is fucking absolutely ridiculous. Like, no, fucking men cannot be fucking. And they basically, it seems like they all just end up having a fucking mental breakdown of all the fucking, truth that they've been trying to fucking suppress for so long because of the fact that, again, their moral center lies with the wisdom of the crowd, right? Democracy.
Right. I mean, that's why they, like you were saying about fact checking or verifying information before you start trying to fucking talk about it. And that's why these fools are still running around like he's a rapist. Like he was never fucking found guilty of rape, man. He was found
Right.
guilty of defamation. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then not to mention again, just like that, you know information about their E. Jean, where she did the same to another, New York businessman and fucking conned him out of millions of dollars. And, just, I mean, I don't know. You said cognitive dissonance runs so deep that they're just unable to accept any type of information. Meanwhile, you got memes saying, well, they'll never believe that he's as guilty as, you know what I mean? Because they're in a cult. Like, he hasn't been found guilty of fucking anything. Defamation is that's just saying, I say he talked bad about her. You know what I'm saying? Was that worth fucking, what was the award for that one? $100 million or some shit? Like,
Yeah, something
dude,
like that.
come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, even with courts that are fucking fully stacked against him, with judges that fucking have predetermined his guilt, they still cannot, definitively prove. They have their walkarounds and stuff, right? Like, well, we didn't find him guilty of rape, but we found him liable, right? We found enough evidence to take his money, basically, is what they're saying, right? But they're not enough evidence to actually, definitively say that he actually did anything or that the event actually took place, right? And especially if you look at the evidence contrary, which these judge obviously didn't do, down to the dress that she claimed she was wearing and stuff like that, not being actually released until sometime later, from the point that she can't even actually remember when the actual date of the event was. She can't even remember the month. I probably doesn't even actually remember the year, right? But she knows that it happened. And
Right, and then
yeah,
the clip where she's on Anderson Cooper saying, "Well, it wasn't sexual." You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like, what in the
Some
fuck?
people think rape is sexy. Like,
Right, it wasn't sexual, but it was rape. Like, how? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
what the fuck? They just
yeah,
twist the meanings of words, and then not to mention the shit he was charged with, the statute. Like they had to change the law to charge him with it, and then immediately afterwards they changed the law back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just fucking lunacy out here. And again,
yeah.
you point this shit out, and people are like, "Nope, that's not real. He's a criminal."
Yeah, you're just tripping.
Yeah, and
You're
that's
just one of those Trump or die people, right? You're court 45.
right, and that's part of the whole, you know, sowing distrust and fucking discord, and you know what I mean. Especially against opposing political figures, and they'll hold that in their minds, and you know that's why they'll never change their vote. Even people you could sit and break down statistics, like as far as economics, not even the actual political aspect, and they're still like, nope. Like basically, I would rather my fucking grandchildren starve than vote for the means orange man's.
Right. That's why 2 + 2 = 5 nowadays.
Because math truly is racism. So is mayonnaise.
Right. Speaking of some racist math and some racist mayonnaise, as we've seen, pro-Palestine, uh, I don't even want to fucking call them protests. Hey, this is fucking brainwashed fucking idiots out there LARPing, or fucking brainwashed idiots out there fucking, basically being destructive for the sake of being destructive. And at the same time, it's being orchestrated by fucking grown ass adults that are in no way affiliated with the fucking school, anything like that. Half of them aren't even in any way affiliated with fucking Palestine, right? Or any of that shit. They're just fucking agitators, right? They're just basically people here to destroy. Basically, just people here to go ahead and incite and destroy and basically, again, destroy this country. Sow discord, ideologically subvert, demoralize. All right, yeah, basically they're out here corrupting the youth to borrow a term that's been used throughout history,
Utes.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and they fucking just their gay little fucking scarves, and they're like, it's Palestinian summers. And
Right.
I saw some shit going by on the Twitter sphere where they were playing all these, different shots from pages where these chicks, they're all out there posing and fucking, you know what I mean? Like it's fun times, selfies and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, dude. And then you see the place was left completely fucking trashed. And then you see the mug shots as well, like you just said, it's a bunch of old cats. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Male
I mean,
pattern baldness and shit.
yeah, and I think there was only like 3 or 4 actual Arabs in the mug shots, and all
Yeah.
of them looked, 40 plus. And and then of course the shenanigans that have ensued when they started to cut off, you know, whatever water and sent in the police, different colleges. Just the videos are hilarious, dude, everywhere. The trash can kid, the
Right.
fucking kid
There's
being carried away like the cops' his motherfucking dad.
dude, the trash can kids, man. Like, dude, I gotta say that one kind of fucking hit me different, man. Like that one, like it almost felt like fuck, dude. Like you remember that video of the fucking mentally ill dude in the trenches over there in Ukraine and shit. And
Yeah,
basically they're just over there like fucking with them and shit. And there's like boom, and he's like, ah, like all scared and shit like that. It reminds me of that. Like those fucking like these are
It's exactly what it is,
these
dude. I
these are
mean, you see
fucking
these
mentally ill
kids.
kids.
Yeah, the
Like,
vast majority of them are the busters and social deviants, cast-offs, pariahs and whatnot, and they found their clique. You know what I mean? These
right.
fools suck
She
them
showed me
in.
her boobies. Nah, I'll follow them anywhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they suck them in, like you said, and we're clicked up. Where's the families? We're out here representing, and they're desperate to latch on to something, man. And then of course you live in a crumbling, hold out fucking skeleton of opulence, and these kids have never seen any kind of adversity or anything like that, so they look for it wherever they can, and latch on to the flavor of the month, which is right now again fools that would throw them off fucking buildings and shit. So you know
Right. Yeah, that's another thing that I kind of worry that I not worry about, but I kind of wonder about too is about how the Islamic people actually feel about this, right? Basically, it begs the question: is the enemy of my enemy my friend, right? And in this case, I mean, really, the fucking the
I have to say
Christians,
no.
right? On a spiritual level and shit like that. At least for the Islamic people. Again, I don't follow their faith. I don't know any thing about their actual faith, anything like that. But I do know that they really do not like gay people. And they're not a big fan of the sexual immoralities of basically the modern American leftist, right? So it really kind of begs the question, like, how do they actually feel about knowing that people here in America, the people that support them here in America, are over there wearing fucking rainbow turbans and shit like that, and fucking like free Palestine, y'all. Like I wonder how they actually feel about that. Like
I'm sure
is
they think
in
they're complete fucking clowns and they want to throw them off buildings, dude.
right. I understand that, but at the same time, do they accept their support? You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm trying to get at. Are they over there like yay, the American homosexuals, they support our cause. Yay. Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to say no again. I think that they're over there like these fucking morons, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they'll
Yeah.
take it as far as they'll take any aid or money that they feel they can socially squeeze out before the election. But other than that, no, I don't think they accept it in the least, man. I saw an interview with an Arab chick that was out there in the crowd wearing the fucking scarf, and they walk up and they start asking her questions. And one of them was, "How do you feel about? Do you support LGBTQ yet?" And she fucking straight laughed, like, "Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but right now we got to worry about this, man." In other
Right.
words, like, you just no, like, you know what I'm saying? But we'll use you as retarded foot soldiers for sure. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. Foot Ninja. That's what they kind of remind me of. Fucking remember fucking Ninja Turtles when they made it into a live action movie and shit?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Daniel Son. Fucking he goes and joins the Foot Ninja and shit. He basically joined Antifa. That's that's basically what it was, dude. Just a bunch of fucking lost little fucking little gutter punk kids and shit like that. And basically he just organized them into a ninja unit. But either way, it's essentially the same fucking thing.
Yeah, instead of like Splinter, it's like a fucking Linda Sarsour type
Right.
of figure. You know what I mean? A chick in a hijab fucking frothing at the mouth for blood, dude. And like,
Right.
jihad doesn't really mean like holy wars. It means like struggles. Oh, you mean
Right.
like Mein Kampf? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Everybody goes through struggles, bitch. It's all about perception.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
goes through struggles. I just don't think about, vesting up with fucking dynamite.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's obviously that just kind of goes to show the morality of the Islamic people and stuff like that. Down to the point of you know, fuck it. I hate it. Basically, they are accepting the support of the people that they see as the absolute fucking devil, right? I think they're accepting fucking. They're basically accepting the help of their version of the fucking devil, right? So
Period. Period. We're the
that's
big Satan, dude.
right. So I think again, where exactly is their moral center, right? Just
Well,
just
in the
just, just
Quran, it
saying.
says in the Quran, it said it's all right to lie to and use non-believers to further the ends of fucking Islam. So there's
All
that.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
there's that
don't
too.
yeah, don't worry. I mean, I get my fingers cut off for repeating that in English and stuff, but you know,
Right.
it's people's. It's just the normal thing. They just look for his better life. We should import them. Like Joe Biden right now. How do you think he's going to placate the crowd, dude? The fucking extreme left right now. Well, let's fly thousands of fucking displaced Gazans in. You know what I
Right.
mean? You mean the same people that have been dispelled from other Arab countries because they're fucking terrorist, tendencies? Fuck yeah, dude. Fucking
Right.
election sneezings.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We're gonna vet them. We're definitely gonna vet each and every one of them. And we'll give them a number and we'll give them a court date. We'll vet them all
We'll
eventually.
vet them on the Speed app.
Right.
Speed
Fucking
app
crazy shit. Crazy ass fucking times you live in,
sponsored
man.
by Pfizer.
Pfizer. Shit. I want some Pfizer money, man.
Them fools are
Put a
actually
little
getting
put a
out.
little logo up there. Boop. No,
Right. They got the same type of shit. They got the support of Catholic fucking, NGOs and shit, and the obvious NGOs, the fucking UN, the fucking, I mean, on and on, dude.
oh
These
yeah.
fools are raking it in.
Yep. Yeah. Fucking dude. I don't know. So well, we'll now get into basically what seems to be the spiritual warfare of the world, right? So we got anti-Semitism bill. So basically, we could combine all of these. We don't got to do them one by one. We could just kind of put it into a whole big old thing. But we got basically, obviously the pro-Palestine fucking brainwashing of the college kids. We got the anti-Semitism bill being pushed in the government right now. We have what seems to be a Christian revival, amongst a lot of people in the world in America, mainly within the Western world right now. Um, we also got the latest in basically the United States and their escalations in the Middle East in terms of what could possibly be World War III or the war to end all wars, right? The fulfillment of the prophecy, right? So yeah, yeah. I don't know. If I can, obviously, I'll start with the part with religion, right? So I think a lot of people are seeing a lot of uh, more than coincidental parallels to a lot of the old biblical prophecies, and I think that is something that is really kind of pushing a lot of people back toward religion and stuff like that. And then I don't know, man. It's definitely some crazy fucking times that we're living in right now. I would like to say also that I have been going back to church, right? So, anybody in the comments that may be happy about that, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. But I have been going back to church. I have been, studying the Bible a bit more. I've read it in the past. I read it in as a kid growing up. I read it in prison, but I guess I just never quite grasped. Right? I never fully gave it the time of I never really gave it any sort of belief before. All right, so I'm starting to look back into it now. We're seeing a lot of that, similar of I guess you could even call it phenomena. Taking place all over different places right now. People like Russell Brand. We're seeing what was it, Candace Owens? She just basically converted to Roman Catholicism though from different sect of Christianity, but we're really seeing basically a huge revival all across the Western world right now, and it could be a whole bunch of different things, right? Like I said, a lot of the stuff that is biblical and stuff like that. It could basically all just be a culmination of all of the wisdom gained from the cyclical rise and falls of civilizations all throughout history, even down to pre-recorded history, right? Basically legends and stuff that have been passed down, wisdom that is passed down from king, to king, so on and so forth, all the way from the early days of, worshiping, different pagan gods and worshiping the wind and the sun and all this other shit. And basically all the culminative knowledge that is passed down from all of that shit basically could have basically put out a perfect a perfect blueprint as to where basically this progression is going to eventually end up leading by watching the cyclical nature of nations rise and fall. And basically, you're going to get, if you do it, exponentially, or even if you just use like Fibonacci sequence, you're going to get to a point where it's going to, obviously the pendulum's going to be swinging so far to a point where basically you could predict that the wrath of God will, in a sense, come down upon the earth. Right? So a whole bunch of different ways you could look at it. You could, like I say, you could look at it from the theocratic view. You could look at it from the secular view. You could look at it from, I don't fucking know what's going on, but I'd like to figure it the fuck out type of view. I don't know. What's your thoughts on all of this shit going on in the world right now, man?
I mean, as far as everything goes, I mean, you can't really say biblical because they surely, you could say overall, I guess, as far as you could see the descent of society or what have you, like you said, structures. But at that same time, I mean, place has been here for billions of years. It's one of those, if you keep repeating it's going to end one day for thousands, one day you could very well be right, right?
Right.
But I think it's a upheaval, like again, like you said, structural cycles. And like the pendulum swinging is a perfect fucking, example as far as everything's gone to, that godless left and man searches for something, right? Purpose, yada, yada, that almost like, instant parent figure. I mean, obviously from the moment you're born for most people, right? And so they tend to replace it with government, and people are waking up to the fact that that's not working out. You know what I mean? That when things were more moralistically based, it was a much better society, more fruitful for everybody, pretty much involved. And I mean, of course, we're not going back to the fucking strict Protestant days of fucking slavery or something. I'm talking in current decades or whatnot, in the last 10, 20, what have you. You've seen this disintegration and pull away, lower attendance in churches and shit like that. Not that you need church to be spiritual. And then as far as like the examples you see, like you said, like Russell Brand, I think it's a natural tendency again as people get older to reflect back on that sense for meaning, guidance, shit like that. And you're also, you're starting to realize your own mortality's almost there. And people tend to, that's been pounded into your head. That's almost built-in cognitive dissonance, right? Shit that's been told, passed on from child to from their parent to the children for thousands of years. And so it's almost like you feel that coming, and then that same natural pull that's there. So I think that's natural. Like it's just a cycle, like you said.
Yeah, I think like having kids is another thing that could really kind of bring forth that sense, and it's basically the whole idea of creation, stuff like that. I guess that's really something that could go forth for a lot of people. It's basically like I know it's something that really kind of was amazing to me when I first had my first kid. Was basically like this, this was nothing, and I created this, I created this human and shit, and so basically that's the whole uh you know the thing that does kind of awaken a lot of people to the idea of basically that, like, oh well, the something must have created something basically in order to get to where we're at today. And so that's basically where I guess kind of where I came back to the idea of religion, that as well as spending a lot of time studying philosophy, especially moral philosophy, and basically getting nowhere, always getting back to the exact same point of God, right? When you try and fucking pin down morality, when you try and pin down the idea of morality, and you try and fucking find it for your own, or you try and rationalize other different sets of morality, you find that basically they all operate off of the same objective sense of morality, right? And basically that's the God sense, I guess, that you know that really kind of brought me back to the idea that, like, well, maybe I read a lot of books and shit, but I mean, human beings have been here for like tens of thousands of years, and we've been passing down wisdom. Like, maybe I'm just not the first person that's gonna. Oh, actually, all of you guys were wrong. Actually, I figured it out. Like,
Right.
you know, like, sorry guys, 10,000 years of learning. Actually, a guy sitting in his fucking kitchen reading some books. I figured it all out, you guys. Like, and then so that was basically the idea. Like, maybe I should, maybe if I want to actually look for morality, maybe I should look where people have documented morality for fucking thousands and thousands of years. Yeah. And so that's basically what kind of brought me back to religion. And then, and like I said, I had read Revelation quite a few times before. Revelation is obviously one of the most fascinating books in the Bible. I don't care who the fuck you are. It's one of the most fascinating books in the Bible, and that's like I say, a lot of the parallels and stuff that you see. Especially you know, like I said, you could look at it from several different angles. You could look at it from a literal angle where basically like, oh, the harlot, the scarlet woman and stuff basically is representative a representation of America. The beast with the seven horns and 10 crowns, that's a representation of the United Nations, stuff like that. And you could get down to it at that point and basically think like, oh well, we're getting real close to the point where fucking the chariot is going to descend from the sky and shit like that. And that'd be a very, very literal way of looking at it. And that's really not the way that a lot of people actually look at it. That's not the way that from what I've found, basically that's not the way a lot of people actually look at it. A lot of people do kind of look at it in the kind of secular, basically this is the cyclical nature of rise and fall of nations, and basically this is a vision of what the fall of the ultimate nation is going to look like, basically. And then you could also look at it as basically, no, this is basically a description of the fall of Rome. All right. Or you could look at it as, this is the description of, the description of the fall of the nation of Judah, right? Of Judea. But basically, and you can look at it as like, okay, well, all of this basically happened. So now we're in God's, country, and or we're in God's world, basically. And it's up to us to go forth and make it God's country and shit like that. And so that's the couple different ways of looking at it, And so basically, but again, just the one thing is just that all the different parallels and stuff that connect to our time and stuff like that. I think that's something that makes it something that's timeless, no matter which way you choose to look at it, And so that's basically why I think it's objective morality. But again, they do have some differences in them, as we see basically with the Islamic religion and stuff like that. Basically, they go off of the same, Abrahamic, origins and stuff like that. But obviously, they don't believe that Jesus was God come to earth to basically show us how to to basically show us about humility, and how we're always we were born sinners, we're always going to be sinners, and in God's eyes we ain't never going to be good enough. So basically Jesus sacrificed himself to show us about forgiveness, and basically to fill that void that we fall short of. And so basically they don't believe that, right? So they basically believe that you can only get to heaven by absolute fucking service to God, like absolute undying service to God and shit like that. And so that's why they're so fucking religiously fucking zealous, to put it lightly, right? But yeah, so
That and the
and then
fact that the region has an average IQ of like 86, so if you get one above that, he's going to easily manipulate fucking the others. You know what I mean?
well,
And
it's because they didn't accept the next part of human evolution, where you need to learn how to fucking forgive and not just be a fucking, you need to learn how to fucking think and rationalize. That's why they don't
right.
that's why they never got very much fucking smarter. They didn't accept.
But I think that those books are well good, and like you said, dictate morals, shit like that. Twisted, tweaked, retranslated, yada yada. But at that same time, I think that it's thinking too small. I think if there's a creator of the universe, which I definitely lean towards, right, is creation, but I think it's more vast than our minds could comprehend. We've talked about this previously, and regardless of any words, I mean, whatever gives people reason, happiness, a center of peace, what have you, I'm all for. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I think that the true creator of the universe You couldn't even comprehend those words. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's beyond the thought, and that's where they always throw in the well, the Lord's, works and stairs ways, and that's
Right.
just because it's if it's true, if any of the theory's true, it's completely unexplainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's beyond, it's beyond reason, to be honest.
Yeah, and
That's
when you were
that's
talking about like they have to be pious to get into heaven and whatnot, again, I wouldn't believe that. I believe that if you look at a creator that would literally take time to create individual species, that it'd be like a father aspect. You have kids, you try to nurture them at a certain point, and then you're off to do your thing. You
right.
got to
Oh,
grow and survive.
fly, fly.
Yeah,
Right.
think for yourself, and that's why he gave us, or it, she, whatever the thing is, right? Energy, whatever it is, gave us a mind that can process information and the ability to question and reason, figure things out, build shit.
Yeah. Rationalize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like I say, I guess if you want to look at it from the, I say the universal creator, type sense. Yeah, obviously that's basically what most people's idea of God is. That's been the way that I've thought for quite some time. Is basically that would be the ultimate goal of creation, to basically be a again just a cyclical sense of the nuclear family and stuff like that, right? The Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, stuff like that. And it's basically, like I say, I think that would be the most plausible idea too. If you look at the fact that we advance constantly, and the reason that we advance constantly is because we ignore morality to a certain extent, right? As long as we the down to the whole fucking cloning and fucking basically everything that God told us to do, down to the very first time when he says don't eat fucking fruit from this tree. Yeah, we couldn't resist. We had to try. And so basically that's how we've gotten to this point to that we are. It's basically by coming into, I guess, our own, basically. And again, not trying to say that humanity is anything you know related, as anything uh uh, parallel or anything comparable to the idea of God or anything like that. But it's basically like I say, I think that basically humanity's purpose is basically to ensure the continuation of life, right? Basically, God loved what he created, and so basically I would imagine that he would create a being capable of sustaining his creation in the universe, in the cold dark universe, basically.
Do you think though, like a creator of a universe would do, love would be a thing? I mean, you think about the way planets, so you see planets be destroyed, suns explode. I mean, on and on, man. And would there be love? It's kind of like, it's your job almost at that point, right? I mean, you think about, your own job. You got no love. You'll deal with, you know, impunity, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Well, I guess the way I'd put it is just I guess you would what is worth doing if not something done out of love? Like what's the point of doing anything? Like there's not really much of a point to doing something for no reason, right? Just as the same as there's not necessarily a good point to doing anything for a bad reason, right? Like why would, like, again, that basically brings down the question of why would we be created only to be destroyed by a fucking meteor or some shit like that, which was also created by the same person that created us? That would be basically pretty cynical of a god at that point. And so basically that's the whole, at least, again, from what I've been reading and stuff like that, it's that the whole point of faith is basically admiring the fact that what has transpired all the way up to the point where we're at right now is such a astronomically uh, incredible phenomenon that basically that implies that a god, if there is a universal creator, it must be good because of the fact that this is such an amazing phenomenon that we're here and we're able to view and reflect and interact and understand and stuff like that. So
again, but something is, could create something as vast as the universe. It's just like let the ball roll, right? Big Bang type of shit. And there's millions of planets, man. Millions. You know what I'm
oh yeah,
saying?
Yep.
And to think that we're the
Shit,
only ones
trillions.
to me is absolutely fucking childish, naive, and borderline conceited. You know what I mean? Sociopathic tendency type shit. And like the von Daniken fucking speech, like you say that there's 100 million habitable planets in the universe. Say only 10% of that is in the habitable zone, and only 10% of that still supports life. I mean, you're talking, a million fucking planets that, you know, very well could have life on it. And that's like a super conservative estimate. You know what I mean? And since that speech, they've, with current technology that we've sent out to deep space, we know there's more planets than that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking again. It's so vast that the human mind, can't even comprehend. Dude. I
Right.
mean, we have a hard time with the conceptual aspects to like numbers. You think of $1 billion in ones, like you really can't even imagine it. That's like to the moon and back. Son. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
just madness.
Oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, I mean, like I say, at the same time, the concept of God being the universal creator and stuff like that would basically be to imply that you know he created the any other alien life forms that we don't know about too, that are distant light years away and stuff like that. It would imply basically that he created everything, including them. And so basically the idea of siblings and sisters and brothers and stuff like that, it's a very common concept within the Bible, down to the very early part where motherfuckers were having 60 to 100 fucking kids and shit like that. Shit, maybe God had 60 to 100 fucking kids too. Again, I don't again, it's all theoretical. I don't want to get too blasphemous. But yeah, like I said, perhaps like I said, it's basically, like I said, the idea of faith. Because if there was no God, then there's no point, right? And that's basically the idea of it. And basically, is like I said, the whole what God basically represents is the center of morality, right? And so basically, it's the center. If we have a moral center, which we as human beings we do, you can't deny the fact that we understand morality and immorality, at least to a certain degree. Where a lot of, but that's the whole thing about in the theocratic sense of basically a free choice, right? And it's basically we know instinctively the difference between right and wrong, and basically we are given that free choice to choose which to do, right? So we could easily choose wrong, but basically God wants us to choose right. And so that's the whole idea, that's the whole thing about faith. And God is going to save us because basically God is good, and basically God would only would basically the whole idea, God would never give you more than you could handle and stuff like that. So I don't know, like I say, it's the whole faith stuff, but it's really like I said, it's again, faith is as well could be just another phenomena that it just permeates the earth. Maybe again, when it comes to evolution, everybody says that like, oh, humans don't evolve. Humans haven't evolved or anything like that. We don't see any changes in human adaptation or human evolution, but in reality we do see profound changes in the human mind, the human ability to conceptualize, the human ability, basically the human ability to visibly see that center of morality, right? And so again, you could consider the coming of Jesus to be one of those turnings of basically all human minds basically throughout earth basically kind of woke up. And that again, that's the post millennial kind of idea basically. Well, God did come back, or God did come to the earth in the form of Jesus, and then we crucified him, and then he was resurrected, so he did come back, right? And so basically that's the point. And basically he came back and he did open up all of humanity's eyes to what God wants. And that was basically he'd like us to be like innocent as a child, right? And basically he'd like us to be able to forgive one another in order to you know basically, and again, if you want to look at it from the secular point of view, again, that could just be the point where we finally realize that if we stop just fighting to the death because my God wills us to win, and like, oh, well, how is your God and this and that, and your God cannot face my God and this and that type shit. Once basically that would be the next point in human evolution, is basically the whole monotheistic, the universal understanding of God, basically, where everybody in the world understands God in a very similar sort of sense. And then basically, like I say, Jesus would be that next step in evolution, right? Where we understand it now. And so basically you could even look at Revelation as being the next step where the human mind basically evolves to a different form. And so you could even say that that's in a major way what we're going through right now with the internet, with fucking artificial intelligence, you name it. Basically, we are obviously going through a major 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 event in human history and human evolution, possibly even. Right. So I mean, maybe you could even you could even look at it like that, but I forgot what got us to that part in the first place.
I don't know, but you're getting into Zeitgeist type shit. And, a big portion of what you said were said about, previous gods, while we're on the Zeitgeist, topic, with the exact same circumstances and whatnot. And I think people tend to stray as far as mixing the religion into God thing. Like religion is, God, if there's a God, God is God, totally absent any, small beliefs, private beliefs, what have you. And, people conflate the two, especially when it comes to spirituality. Like I said, start quoting the Bible and talking about Jesus, and there's two vast different things: spirituality and religion. You know what I mean? God and religion. Like, I mean, to me anyway, right? I mean, obviously, there's plenty of people that can't differentiate between them. You know what I mean? And then even as far as, like, the Bible's concerned, again, that's not only the word of man, but it's also again, translated, rewritten, fucking edited, books left out, fucking you know what I mean? Like, you can just keep going. And so
Mm.
you have a version, just like any information, you know, just about any information that you'll attain at this point is in some way almost like an opinion piece. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's strapped with fucking hypocrisy and control mechanisms. And and then you start getting into the other aspects of religion, when you talk about even more ancient writings that corroborate stories in the Bible, but that were written thousands of years beforehand. But yet the other aspects, the creation aspects, where we come from, shit like that, are vastly fucking different, but again align with certain aspects of the current Bible that were purposely taken out, like the Book of Enoch, for instance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, dude, it's really hard to process that much information as is. You know what I mean? That massive
Mm.
book, but then you gotta almost try to pick and choose what's metaphoric, what's supposed to be meant literal. What you know what I mean? And
Right.
even like conflating, like, parallels and stuff. I mean, that's the human mind doing that. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
like, really, I mean, we'll see things and associate them with aspects in our own time. You know what I mean? Shit like that. And just by translating a single word wrong changes a sentence, which will change a paragraph, so on
Right.
and so forth.
Shit. It's like the
Uh, you
Second
know,
Amendment.
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But ultimately, with that, nothing's been changed. They just fucking just rack down restrictions, which weren't supposed to be there.
Right.
But like with the Bible, it's again, that's why it's called the King James version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, in the sense of control and stuff like that, like, yeah, I mean, of course, that's basically what it is, like I say, but it's essentially, I don't know, I used to say a while back, I'm sure you could remember that, basically, can man be moral without God? And I used to say, yeah, of course he can, of course, we have tons of books on morality and stuff like that nowadays. But I don't believe that anymore. I based off what I see nowadays, especially in American society. Basically American society is fully secularized. It's fully secularized, fully liberal. It's basically It's American morality is purely subjective right now, and it's basically each person decides what is morally right and what is morally wrong. We have absolutely zero center of morality, right? And so yeah, basically I mean it's a control mechanism. It's in the form of basically, but I don't know. The part that I would say makes it a control mechanism from in a divine way is the fact that, again, it is good, right? God cannot be bad because literally God is the definition of good, right?
But Muslims believe the same thing. Their religion's Abrahamic. Their
Mm-hmm.
writings are just as old as the Bible, but they accept plenty of things as being moral that you wouldn't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I mean, there's that tear there,
And then
and
so again, a part that I'll point to that too is, again, they may have somewhat accepted, they may have somewhat accepted the teachings of Jesus as him being a strong moral prophet, but they don't accept the idea of Jesus as being God in the same way that Christians do. That's why the tenets that were taught by Jesus are very, very central in Christianity, as opposed to they're acknowledged in Islam, they're acknowledged in Judaism, but ultimately they're not practiced to the absolute faithful point that it is in Christianity. And so that's why basically again, the tenet of forgiveness doesn't necessarily, live in that region. It would seem like, at least, to a moral absolute standard, you know, and so that's, again, why the Middle East problem seems to never be able to be solved, is because of the fact that it's basically just like an eye for an eye, and an eye for an eye, and an eye for an eye, and then a tooth for a tooth, and then fucking, oh, you're 10,000 fucking people. Well, we'll kill 10,000 of yours, and then fucking, well, we'll kill 30,000 of yours, and then, oh, we'll kill 30,000 of yours, and so that's basically what we see, right? It's basically nobody's willing to, I guess, look the other way, basically just, turn the other
it's
cheek.
because philosophical thought is the food for fucking, again, an opulent society, man. I mean, you're talking about people that live in dirt floor tents, and if fucking it's hard to think moralistically when your fucking whole family just got bombed out or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Really,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I mean, there's aspects of their religion that you would consider good. I consider good, and again, they stem from the same belief system, but at the same time, like you're not gonna, like you said, that we have to see God in a certain way, but it's never gonna be like that. And like you were saying, you can't have morals without God. That's just solely people not listening to their own conscience and their ingrained thoughts, as far as, like you said, right from wrong, and that's
And still people
that's the
choose to do
basis for
wrong.
morals, right? And regardless if God's in the situation or not, people are
Mm-hmm.
still going to choose to do wrong. They already know it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if they're a type of person that's going to do that on occasion, sure, saying, well, God says, but the vast majority of the time, the type of person that's going to commit some acts are going to commit those acts. You know what I mean?
So the difference is justification or not, right? Whether or not, okay, so basically, like I say, the whole idea of, Christian morality and stuff like that is accepting that you're a sinner, right? That doesn't matter how hard you try, you're never going to be what God expects you to be, right? And so basically, that's what it boils down to, is the difference between justifying your what most people would consider immoral actions through your God, or basically accepting that your God understands that you are not perfect, and basically it's a way to be able to forgive yourself rather than just morally justifying your wrongdoings again and again and again.
I think that usually that's a lot of fucking, chicken soup for the soul type shit.
That's
Make
that's that's
ourselves
what.
feel better, because of the whole forgiveness thing. It's like on a larger scale, right? If
Mm-hmm.
Maho asked for forgiveness after being responsible for the death of millions of people, like, well, we should forgive him because, like, he said he sinned and asked for forgiveness. Like, yeah, I mean, all of that, it's
Well, that's the
there's
other
a
thing
lot
too,
of
is
that's
judgment is not ours to give. Like, it's not our judgment. That's the entire point too, about the idea of faith is basically, again, putting it in the hands of God. And basically the whole thing about forgiveness of oneself is, it's not basically, I don't need you to forgive me, I need to be able to forgive myself for the things that I've done, basically.
But again, though, the thing is that you'll be brought into the kingdom if you're forgiven, right? You beg for forgiveness. So again, I mean, that how is that moral? Like this person's responsible for millions of death, but they were saved. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's really not moral. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I mean, there's a lot of aspects there, bro. That's always fucking tweaked my head as far as Christian religion goes. Like I said, the moral aspects are great. We spoke on this previously. You teach like the Ten Commandments, for instance. Those are common sense fucking aspects of a cohesive society. Don't fucking steal. Don't kill. Don't fuck your neighbor's wife. I mean, again, that's all things that within yourself that's wrong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Without even having to be told, bro.
Right.
And again, people still just continue to commit those acts. And
Well,
and
then that's the whole thing. And then basically, in that case, well, shit, then the world deserves to be destroyed. Like,
I mean, if that's how you want to think about it, I mean, that's just again, it's human nature. I was just
well, then,
speaking on that with the libertarian thing. There's never going to be this great society, regardless of any
and again,
aspects that
that
people
comes
can
from a
come up with.
presupposition. That comes from a presupposition that other people are bad. I don't believe that. I think a vast majority of people are good, or at least attempt to be good. I think it's a small
That's
number
right,
of people that are
and those
bad.
majority are the ones that function in society, and the minority are the ones that are fucking in prison and committing acts of fucking crime. Again, it's the same thing. It's going to be the same regardless. You know what I mean? Even if I was at church tomorrow, it wouldn't change the way I function. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I realize what I have to do
because
to
church can't
survive
change the
and
way you
provide
function.
and fucking,
You can
you know
only
what I mean?
change the way that you function by understanding, having a better understanding of yourself. Like
Right?
nobody
I
can
mean,
change anybody else, right? God can't change you. That's why that's the whole thing of free will. Only that's the thing is basically only you can change yourself. Basically, so the whole thing is you know again the take the whole God aspect out of it. Basically, it's the moral center within you that tells you the difference between right or wrong. That moral center wants you to do the right thing, and if you generally do the right thing, generally rightness comes back to you. And generally, if you do the wrong thing, you're going to reap what you sow. And that's like I say, it's basically the culmination of all morality. It's not like they didn't take anything from the pagans. It's not like they absolutely destroyed paganism and everything gone. No, they basically just rearranged it and simply, universalized it into one unifying understanding of the nature of reality, rather than trying to think that oh, if the ocean spits in my face, then that means that rain will come. Like that's chasing the wind, as it puts it. And so I forgot where I started with that, but
right. None of that changes anything I said, though, dude. It's fucking. There's two sides to human nature. There's ones that the nature to be cohesive, to produce, to be a good person, and there's
mm-hmm.
the other aspect that's fucking. I'm gonna take what I need. Fucking, you know what I mean? If I have to kill someone to do it, it doesn't matter. I mean, all those things will
Right,
always exist, and the
right.
majority will always be the ones that are like, dude, I need to go to fucking work. I need to provide for my kids. You know what I mean? And that's how societies function for fucking thousands of years, man.
Well,
You know what I mean?
societies also function on the fact that if somebody gets in their head that like, oh well, I'm gonna go rob and steal what I would need to get what I get, society should murder that person. That person should not be allowed to live. That should, like, that's the whole thing about a heavy hand of liberty. Basically, the society, a free society cannot function with people like that in there. And basically, good people would know that the morally right thing to do would be to save the innocent people from this morally unjust person. So that's why basically, if you choose the morally unjust path, you get your just desserts by the
That's
people that
judgment.
choose the right,
Right, exactly what you just said. It's not
right.
our jobs to judge,
Yeah, but it's also our jobs to maintain ourselves, right?
to judge the
Again,
situation and fucking, do
yeah.
what you have to do. Right,
Right.
right.
And it's basically that making the decision to, right. So basically, every time somebody wrongs you, you don't need to fucking pull out a gun and shoot them. You don't need to start a fight with them. Every time somebody cuts you off in the road, you don't need to flip them off. And that's basically the taking the small steps to make you a better person. It's basically love your brother as you would love yourself. Basically, it's love. It's like I say, treat others as you would like to be treated. That's the basic single sentence, culmination of what morality is.
The golden rule, man.
Right. And that's what I say. Everybody is ingrained with that. Is a part of human evolution. The majority of people, understand that basically again, th- pick whatever passage you'd like. They all basically culminate to the same thing, a center of morality, basically.
Yeah, whether you have it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And basically that's the problem with a free society. And that's the problem with basically a non-free society, right? Is basically when we decide amongst ourselves to you make overarching laws and stuff like that, and basically make it to where good people cannot do good, right? And bad people are allowed to run free. That's how we come to the society that we are today. That's basically when man starts deciding morality, that's when we end up with chaos.
I mean, like you said, the basis for morality is just do on and fucking, do you basically. I mean, it's common sense shit. Don't steal, don't murder, bro. I mean, it's, don't know what else to say. Do the right thing. If your neighbor drops $100 bill, return it. You know what I mean? Like, it's common sense shit, basically.
Right.
And
Most
it's just
people,
a matter of whether you act on those
as
urges or
we've
not.
mentioned, though, most people lack that. Therefore, they need a book that has been passed down for thousands of years to tell them how to be a good person.
You just said they don't lack it. You just said you believe that the majority of
Right.
people are naturally
most
good
okay.
and
So
fucking.
most people choose to do the easier path, right? Because
Exactly what
that's
I'm
part
saying.
of our
That's exactly what
basic
I was saying
nature,
the whole time. That's what I'm
right?
saying. Exactly.
That's the
Human
wrong path,
nature.
though. Right. Right.
Right.
That's
I
basically
mean,
the lazy path. That's the wrong way to do it. Right. Nothing worth doing is easy. Right.
I suppose, man. I mean, to an extent, for sure. You know
I
what I
don't know.
mean?
Again, like I say, it just brings a point to life. Right. I'd just rather, I spent a long time of my life believing that there is no point to life. Right. And
I
so,
surely don't think there's no point. I think your point here is like every other mammal on this planet is to reproduce. And you know what I mean? Make kids, take care of them, try to raise fucking good ones, leave behind kids that are
yeah, but
better than
that's
you.
not the
You
morality of
know,
everything on this planet. That's not the same thing that
that has
snakes
nothing to
do.
do with morality. I'm saying that's their purpose. That is their purpose.
All
They
right, well, I mean,
reproduce and they fucking die. You know what I mean? That's what all animals do.
that's not a
You know what I mean?
purpose. That's literally that's
That
not.
is your purpose. That is a purpose. It's to continue the species. That's a huge purpose. Without
Well, then
that purpose, we wouldn't be
continuation
sitting
of the
here.
species would be the purpose then, right? And in order to continue the species, there needs to be a center of morality because the species needs to be able to interact amongst each other, right? We need to be able to work together as a species in order to continue the species. Therefore, we need some guidelines and some rules on how people should interact with each other. And then basically, if we choose to not interact that way, well, people, could choose to, respond accordingly.
Yeah, I mean,
At least, in an actual free society, not a society that is, hyper regulated and governed and basically, decided on emotion and a whim, and basically what the talk du jour is, what the latest hot button issue is, and it's basically, like I say, what we are today.
yeah. I mean that particular aspect is completely amoral, and it's strictly for self gain and fucking power, of course, to further fucking ends. But yeah, I mean, and I don't disagree. I'm not saying that the country doesn't lack fucking morals. That the vast majority are fucking spun off into some crazy shit. We have a huge sect of the population that have replaced God with government. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot I agree with there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's hard for me to accept shit with the Bible anyway. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, so I mean, that's something I've struggled with my entire life. And the organized religion shit is, pretty much a
Yeah.
sham to me as far as it beyond the fact that it's like community building. You can meet some solid people. get some
Yeah.
really good connections, networking. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. And you know, it's fucking it's beyond, it's beyond just like a, well, we got to have a certain resurgence. I mean, like we've spoke on before, it's a generational thing at this aspect. um we have younger generations that are completely fucked, dude. And you got to turn that around, just like the years it took to get it to this point as far as the Frankfurt School. you know you got to do a 180 with that and put in the fucking work, and we're talking
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. And that's, again, the part of free will. That's why God allows the devil to fuck with us, right? The more the devil fucks with us, the more the badder things get. How, the worse things get, the more immoral the world gets, the more people are going to turn to God, because of the fact that the world is out of fucking control. People are confused. People don't know anything. So basically, what are they going to do? They're going to go back to the most ancient writings of morality. All right.
I think it's just like that pendulum that we were just speaking on. Like I said, it went to the left. It went to, the non-believing fucking lunatic, deviants, and now it's swinging back to that right. And with that right, usually tends to include, more religious aspects. More fucking moral speak, shit like that, man. You see the old fucking garglings on here, dude. PC been down, dude. On the big screen. I feel sorry for you. You got to watch us on a big screen. It
All
sucks.
right. Look at this ugly bug on the screen, man.
Right.
But yeah,
Oh, gargling. He hates that.
gargle.
Right. But yeah, and then you get into the other shit. Like I said, you get into the Zekai shit, and you get into the deeper shit with like things that are mentioned in the Bible, the Watchers, and the Epic of Gilgamesh, when it speaks on the flood, and basically a Moses character, and all this shit was written thousands of years before the Bible, man. And it's hard to fucking know. So when did Liberty Bowl turn into fucking the Matt Walsh? You hire Matt Walsh, huh?
There's this one too. If you want to check out this one, it's a bit of a thick one, but this one's got everything. Right?
Yeah.
So it's
I could turn you on to some shit too, dude, and you don't even got to read it, bro. It'll fucking read it for you and tell you some fucking absolute crazy stories that have been broken down through thousands of years.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have that. I can't pay attention to stuff that's like playing. Like I could barely listen to audiobooks. Like if I listen to audiobook, I'll grasp 10% of it or less.
It's more documentary style, dude. Keeps your interest, man. And he's got a little sidekick called Hecklefish that likes to talk shit, dude. He's pretty good. He's the conspiracy goldfish, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, it show's fucking great, man.
So yeah. See, this one's got the first 80 pages are on esotericism and modern thought, the hidden idea of knowledge, the poverty of human imagination, difficulty of formulating. It's got like 50 different ones of these. And then chapter 2 is about the fourth dimension, the idea of hidden knowledge. It breaks them each down into each of their religious context, all of their different ideas, the esotericism of their beliefs and stuff like that. And then let's see.
It's so hilarious. He said, "Did you see that comment?"
Right, like in Matt Walsh.
When they fire Anomaly and hire Matt Walsh, dude.
Right. Yeah, then it's got the idea of the Superman. It's got Christianity in the New Testament. It's got another one on esotericism. It's got the symbolism of the tarot. It's got yoga. It's got the study of dreams and hypnotism, experimental mysticism, in search of the miraculous, and then the new model of the universe, which is basically their aggregation of the world religions into one, basically.
Yeah.
The eternal recurrence and the law of Manu, sex and evolution. It's got some pretty crazy ass shit in here, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I can, I don't know if I can. So we still didn't talk about, World War III, the escalations that we're heading to right now. Basically, Russia, fucking, Niger, Niger. Did you see about that one at all?
The Russian troops, man, going into what was it, the fucking compound that
Yeah.
had American troops as well.
Yep. Yep. Basically, it's like I said, it's basically kind of like a cuck moment for the American troops. Basically, they were told about a week prior that the Russians are going to be, the Russian troops are going to be coming down, and they're going to be paying us a visit and stuff like that. Probably be best if you guys go stay in the other room, right? Again,
All you little
so,
trannies and fucking
right,
guys, cool. Hang on.
right.
You're going
So,
to clean shit.
so basically, the American troops stayed, and then the Russian troops essentially just walked right by them. Meanwhile, it's almost kind of like I said, almost like a real cucking type situation, right? So take it as Nigeria as Niger, is basically the woman in the situation, right? So America has been fucking that bitch for some time now, right? All of a sudden, that bitch decided, actually, I met this guy, he's gonna be coming over later, and you're just, yeah, whatever, whatever and shit, and then one day the dude actually shows up, and you're just sitting there like, that's what just happened with,
Dolph
right.
Lundgren walks in and shit. I must be.
Right. That's basically what just happened with America and Nigeria right now. And, again, it's just more escalations. Obviously, like we've been saying for some time, Russia's not going to forget this, you guys. All this fucking escalation, the fucking prolonging of the war in Ukraine, basically sending them fucking cluster munitions. We sent the motherfucking cluster munitions, dude. Like of course Russia's not going to forget this type of shit, and so obviously this is a further escalation. All right, I guess maybe not a I guess further escalation because of the fact that basically our foreign adversary is over there setting up bases in one of our what was it? I don't know. What would you consider them? Our fucking foreign puppet states or some shit?
I mean, I'm sure it's supposed to be just a trade partner, but yeah. And then you got Macron over in France coming out saying that there's no possibility that Russia can win, and that he's not ruling out putting troops on the ground if they fucking make any big breakthroughs. And apparently, on the down low, there's at least 3 other fucking EU countries that have reassured Macron that if he sends troops in, that they'll send in a rotation as well. So yeah, I mean, you got these fucking leftist shitbag fucking effeminate governments pushing, for World War III, and with propaganda, they're going to push the cheering fucking idiots that are out here. Ukraine's is into a war with an enemy that's going to be sorely underestimated. Russia's producing like munitions at like 4 times the rate of fucking allied countries at this point. And obviously they haven't used real force. I mean, they're the most fucking nuclear armed country on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And then not to mention they've made some pretty good friends over with with the BRIC situation. Like I could see things spinning out of control pretty easily, man.
Yep. Yeah, and fucking like I said, not to mention all the shit in the Middle East too. We were setting up fucking um what is it, fucking shore fucking heads and shit like that. Basically, we're not docking over there, but we're just setting up a dock just off of the shore there, just so we could get supplies in, right? And of course, we're the people already setting it up are already starting to take fire. So it's again just another escalation for another front that we're going to be fighting on. All right, or maybe I don't know, Russia and Iran can fucking come together and align. And again, like I said, just a lot of stuff really isn't looking good for us in terms of this war, and then not to mention the relationship with Russia and China already, and the fact that we could be looking at issues with China and possibly Taiwan, China through Taiwan. Just a real shitty time for America right now. And so again, we basically it's all from the oatmeal fucking god, old
Yep,
fucking
gotta
Joe
get
Biden
that
himself.
lizard carcass the fuck out of here, dude. And
Right.
motherfucking gargling on here, trying to get us to push fucking random channels, fucking eat a dick,
Right.
son. And he said Macron sucks a 60-year-old wiener. And from what Candace Owen says, yeah, I guess so.
Right. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, man, definitely some crazy shit. But I guess we'll see how it ends up going. We are seeing a bit of the young kids starting to get a little bit more patriotized here in America, especially with all the anti-America, anti-fucking Israel protests going on around the country right now. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get us some good peoples back in, but I don't know. I think our nation's gone way too fucking decadent, to even fucking have, other than the fact that, everything is pretty much drones and fucking shit like that nowadays. We ain't got no fucking fighting force these days. So, it's like I say, it's not looking good for America. But then again, at the same time, I guess the one thing that I got to have faith in is that we tend to have a really nasty trick up our sleeve most of the time. So there's that. We usually have a pretty big ace in the hole oftentimes. So, and we have been doing a lot of funding too. And obviously we just send our old shit out, and then we take the money that we just approved in Congress and basically restock our own shit. So and of course they don't tell the people that we're restocking our own munitions and shit. But so that's I guess one bit of solace.
They blatantly said that they can't keep up with the munition production of Russia. Like Russia's basically, massive fucking country. It's one big manufacturing machine. They're just like back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That's why World War II, they could just send in fucking troops nonstop with fucking munitions and
right. Really, America should be too. Except we fucking sent all of our manufacturing overseas and shit like that.
Right. We armed fucking China.
Right.
You know what I mean? Made them rich, dude.
Yep.
And it'd be real nice right now, right? If everyone could, but like back in the day, you could go get a nice, cushy manufacturing job right now. Fucking Ford, you know what I mean? You work hard about 3.5 hours a day, get paid for 10. Fucking $28 an hour, everything's fat, dude. But all that they sign NAFTA, let it move out. Instead, they'll pay Mexicans fucking $5 an hour, and the Chinamen too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Good times. And that's racist Chinamen.
Right. China. Yeah, fucking definitely some insane fucking times we're living through right now.
Yeah, but they got time to pass fucking, try to pass speech laws on you. So, there's that to look forward. They're fucking setting off World War III, but they definitely got to impact your ability to fucking criticize foreign governments.
Yeah. Yep. Like at a time too, when we're facing economic collapse, we're already in a period of stagflation right now. And then not to mention, again, the government fucking spending addiction is something that's not going to stop. Right. I don't give a fuck who the fuck we get in there as speaker. Right. They're going to, there's the intelligence community has 9 ways from Sunday to getting at you. And then they'll do it.
It's like Tim said, man, they fucking invite you in for a drink, dude. And then fucking some young girl walks out of the bathroom and just lightly touches your leg or something and fucking, hey, do you want? And then you're like, no, man, no, hell no, get off me. But they already took the photo. Right. You know what I mean? And then they show it to you like, look, dude, we're going to put this all over the interzones. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Something. They got something on Johnson. I mean, you see his fucking colleagues are all like, this dude did a complete 180 in his political views. Like his entire career, he's been a staunch fucking conservative, and just months into his speakership, and he's a Democrat, man.
Yeah. Fucking to the point where Democrats are even saying, "Don't worry, we'll save you."
Yeah. That's how they cuck fucking MTG, man. They're she's out there trying to do her fucking rabble rousing fucking shit that made her famous for a minute, and fucking Hakeem Jeffries to the rescue.
Right. Good old fucking Hakeem Jeffries, man. There you go.
The way that dude
Biden
talks and shit.
2024.
Right.
All right.
You're seriously fucking bamboozling.
Yep. Can smell it from here. Shit. But all right, man. You got anything else you want to throw in before you get on out of here?
The usual, man. You got to get rid of the lizard carcass. Fucking, pray Joe Biddens falls down steps one good time, or you get him out real quick. We can overcome the stills.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yep.
of course the RNC with Laura Trump coming out saying that they want to recruit 100,000 fucking canvassers and poll workers and watchers and yada yada. Get involved in that shit, man.
All right.
Make Mercus.
Oh yeah. Shit. Hopefully you don't get arrested for being on the wrong side of the political spectrum. Welcome to the United Soviet States of America, people. Good night. I'm just kidding.
You're an alternate electors. We're out of
Right.
here.
Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate you guys stopping by. I appreciate old gargling glass over there in the chat. Don't forget to like this video, share this video out with your friends. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Go ahead and check out all of our channels. We're across platforms. We got both of our channels description link in the description below. Yeah, appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share as always. Welcome to fucking communist America, and as always, fuck off.
Smell you later. Yeah.
Well, looks like the stream's stuck.